I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, well, I can hear you, so that's good.
Yay. We'll call that a win right now.
Oh my god. Okay.
What a hot mess.
Okay, we're doing it. All right, so season 6, episode 2, London part 2. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This was, again, written by Mike Schur, directed by Dean Holland. Same team we had as part 1, which is kind of nice.
Yes. I feel like it wouldn't make sense.
I know. I
to
don't
do
even
it
think
another
of
way.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say. So, summary, I'm ready for whenever you are. Bless you.
Would my allergies allow me to speak?
I
have one more in me. Hold on.
Bless you.
Thank you. Okay. Leslie gets to meet other powerful women in government and finally gives her speech while receiving her award, which goes much differently than she would have hoped. Andy weighs his options of staying in London to help Lord Covington rather than returning to Pawnee. Ron's honeymoon gets a detour, and Tom continues to fight the fight for Rhett to swag.
Yay. Okay, yeah. So basically just finishing up everything that we started in the first one. I do have a second, kind of, I guess, following up on last week. So some of the webisodes that I talked about last week, some of them I just want to round them out for this week because there's also one with behind the scenes of Ron on his journey to the distillery, and the clue book that Leslie gives him is like so detailed. They zoom in on, it's really lovely and so beautiful. And I feel like that little clue book thing should be in a museum because it's so beautiful. And he really does talk to the workers at Lagavulin, and they seem like real workers. So in the webisodes, they show the behind the scenes. You know how they did the montage at the end of him like talking and laughing with everybody, and you know he was reading the poem over the scenes and whatever. Or April was reading the poem over the scenes, not her, the poem, the acceptance thing or the submission for the award. Anyway, they really did seem like workers and not actors in the best way. So I didn't find any research. I tried to. I didn't find any research whether they were actually workers at Lagavulin, but I bet they were. They had to be, honestly. But it was really funny. And then he asks if he can sleep there. Ron asks if he can sleep at the Lagavulin distillery because he's drank so much. And that was another deleted scene / webisode. It was like he was drinking the Lagavulin as a shot, basically. And the workers were all like, you're not supposed to just shoot it like that. Like you're supposed to savor it and really take a sip, and you know, and he was just he was like, okay, I'll take another one and try again. And then he just keeps doing that. So he gets drunk really fast, and the worker covers him up with a blanket so he sleeps there. It's really cute.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Me too. And then the other webisode that I was going to just quickly mention is that Ron goes up to a random person in the Lagavulin area in Scotland and wants to buy his house so he can stay there. He says he has a large amount of gold, and then this guy says no, but he just hangs around and like stays in his yard and is like, he'll come around. And I thought that was really funny too. Like he wants to move there now after everything you've hated about Europe. Interesting.
Yeah. I haven't been to Scotland, but I've been to Ireland, and that's the vibe. You're like, yes, take me away from the speed of life, and let's just look at these. I mean, you saw the scenes at the end. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful.
Which I bet doesn't even do it justice. Like the amazing bluffs and the scenery and oh my gosh. I cried in this episode. I'm not full disclosure. At the end, oh my gosh, with both Ron's poem and April's submission for Leslie and how hard everything is in government, I was like, this is it hits home. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ending.
Yes. Ron is also sending videos to the girls and Diane. It's very cute. So anyway, that's my little spiel on the rest of the webisodes that were on the DVD extras. And then last episode, I also said I wanted to research the nurse who was trying to get Tom to stop going into the doctor's office. Her name is Sharon Battle, and she has been in Pretty Little Liars, NCIS Los Angeles, Grey's Anatomy, Glow. Looks like a lot of great things. It also looks like her last thing was in 2018. So I hope she's still out there. But if not, I would totally understand. So hopefully she's doing well. She doesn't have any of her agents listed on IMDb, so I couldn't contact them, but I did reach out to her on Instagram, so maybe she'll get that. I don't know. A lot of times if you're not following the person, it doesn't go to where you can see your direct messages. So hopefully she knows that we appreciate her, and if she wants to come on, she can.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, the other thing, I have a lot to catch up on, I guess, because I was getting into the swing of it last week, I guess, because I also didn't realize that I didn't do research on the UK shopkeeper, that Ron is like, take my American money, like that's the greatest currency, and he's like, we don't take that. I don't know what you want me to do for you.
Yeah.
So the shopkeeper's name is Neil Edmond, and he has been in Queen Charlotte, the Bridgerton story, which I have not actually watched. You have, though, right?
I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen all the Bridgerton seasons, but I haven't gotten into that one yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to watch. I have so much on my list. I still haven't finished The Crown, if you can believe it or not. Oh my god, I love that show, but it's like it's a long episodes. And
yeah, they are. And it's The Crown is like, it's a whole vibe. Like you have to be in the mood for the vibe of what that show is.
Yeah, because it's very like it's I mean, which makes sense. It's kind of like documentary heightened vibes, so you do have to be there for the drama. But yeah, I love the show. I really do.
Yeah, it's great. It's well done.
Yes. But anyway, so this dude has been in Queen Charlotte, the Bridgerton story, Ghosts, the UK version. Have you guys heard of the Ghosts US version?
Is that the sitcom where like they're in a house and all the ghosts from who lived there or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen trailers, but I haven't seen the show.
Yeah, so that was kind of like The Office. That was originally a UK show, and they brought it here, and it's really good. My mom is obsessed with it, and I do like it too. It's on Paramount if you have that subscription, but it's a good show, and the characters are all really cool. So he was in the original UK version,
cool.
which is cool. And then he was also in Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, which is the sequel to Bridget Jones, which is super cool. That was fun. I need to watch that one too. I actually think I've only watched the first Bridget Jones like once. I need to go back and rewatch.
I hadn't watched it until I was on maternity leave. And my mom was here with me and she was like, I can't believe you've never seen Bridget Jones' Diary. We have to watch that. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's so funny because every time I think of that show, I have to get past it and just watch it for like the probably goodness it is. But every time I think about that movie, I'm always like, that's the era where they were calling women of Renee Zellweger's size fat and
I know.
like,
oh
big.
my gosh.
And I'm like, who? Where? What? Just like, no. I think about that with Love Actually, where what's his name's character, the one who was working for the prime minister, and they called her like fat or chubby or whatever, and
ridiculous.
I was like, huh? Like, and it's like minimal. It's subtle, I feel, because they don't mention it too much, but it's like so ingrained in you that you think about, like when you rewatch that, you're like, oh, they called her like the bigger girl, and I'm looking at her like, she's so stunning. And I mean, you can be bigger and beautiful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, she's not plus size. I don't think.
I agree with you 100%.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I think we're starting to get at least better about that.
Yeah.
There's still undertones, but I
think
will
we're
say,
still at least calling it out.
Yes. Yeah. I will say, and maybe it's on me for okay, it's not, because my whole life I've gone into stores and mannequins are like, they're the size of the models on the runway. And you're just like, well, that looks great on the mannequin, but I don't think it's going to look like that on me. I was in Target yesterday, and for all the other stuff that is not great about Target, they had like a mannequin. They had like 3 different sized mannequins.
That's good.
And I was like, okay, that's nice to see that we're not just looking at these, So anyway.
Yeah.
My commentary.
Yeah. Yes, totally. But anyway, so that's Neil Edmond. That's the guy that played the shopkeeper. I reached out to him, but haven't heard back. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the next thing that I was going to talk about is, so last episode, we wanted to confirm where Guardians of the Galaxy was filmed, because we said that one of the reasons they filmed in London was so that Pratt could join the show, since he and Lord Covington were shooting Guardians. And it is confirmed. I did confirm that Guardians was filmed in London, some in Surrey and some in Belgium. So there's sound stages over there, as well as location. I think there was a Millennium Bridge scene, and I haven't seen Guardians in a long time, but
Same.
yeah, but it was definitely filmed over there. And last week we commended Pratt for staying on, which is great. But I also think that we should commend the production for letting like that happen, because I feel like there's been a lot of times when, you know, actors have something and they have to turn it down because they're already a part of something else. So I think it's lovely that they gave him the option to go do Guardians and still be a part of the show as much as possible, because I just think that the production here is like going to try to do whatever they can to help their actors. So that was really lovely to hear.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a smart move for them too, right? Because Marvel hits a whole different demographic. And when like Pratt starts getting known for being in Guardians, like they might be like, oh, he's in a show. I know I do that when I find an actor that I like. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, what else are they in?
Yeah. This was also like, it's funny, on Instagram, someone I feel like I heard call him, when was, like, this was at, I think around the turn when he started becoming very like Christian, or maybe that was like after Parks, but it was like around that time when he was starting to become very Christian. And somebody was like looking at all of the old Parks and Rec bloopers, and it was very like sexual, very obscene that Pratt would do, which was hilarious. And they somebody on Instagram was like, I miss godless Pratt.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this is so hilarious to me.
Oh
Maybe
my
he was
gosh.
Christian before too, but he just like leaned into it harder as well. I'm not going to comment on that because I have no idea what his story is as far as like his religious beliefs,
Yeah.
or when that happened. But you can definitely tell that he's less obscene, I suppose you could say. He's a little bit more politically correct and more like following the church vibes later on in his career. But anyway, so
That's so funny. What a comment.
Well, yeah, exactly. Also, side note, in that BuzzFeed article that I found that talked about them filming in London, they kept mentioning Ken Tremendous, and I was like, who is that? Like, that's weird. And it's a pseudonym for Mike Schur. I think he was on Instagram at some point looking at old posts that had that name, and it's so funny, and it goes with his character naming, too. Like we talked about last week. Like, that would be his character name on Parks, and I thought that was hilarious. I did look it up on Instagram, and I can't find him as that anymore, so maybe at some point he was on there. Or maybe he's just gone private now. I don't know. But that's funny. Ken Tremendous.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last couple things I want to talk about are, first of all, something we didn't talk about last week I thought was really wild, that the amount of people that want to recall her that are out front of her office. I was just like looking back at it and I was like, that is so many people that showed up to be at her office with signs and pitchforks, essentially. And I was like, that is nuts.
These
so
people
many
need jobs.
I'm like, hello? But I mean, that is a real thing that if people really believe in it, they will come out for that. I mean, and Harris doesn't count because he still thinks he's voting about legalizing weed, but
Yeah. Yeah.
And then honorable mention to Brian Stack. I just want to shout him out really fast because he, in recent times, I haven't looked at how many downloads we've gotten in the past as far as, all of them, but he in recent times has been the most downloaded episode. So
awesome.
Except for like our pilot. So I just want to shout him out because he has such a great circle of friends and fans that are really supportive of him that I think wanted to hear him speak. So I'm so glad and honored that he was able to do our show. And it was such a good episode. So if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that. It's so fun.
Awesome.
And then lastly, they were doing promos for Winter Olympics in 2013. And oh my gosh, the pictures are amazing. They do a game that honestly is just bullying to Jerry, which is no surprise. But they have him basically like on a chair asleep and they like push him to go see how far he can go. And then he falls out. And I was like, oh my God. But I will post them in their Olympic outfits because it's really cute. They have these jackets, these like silver jackets. And oh my gosh, it looks really funny. And they're all like walking like it's that, what is it? Apollo, whatever, where they're all like walking slow-mo down the hallway, and it's really cute.
Oh, that's so cool.
Okay,
Love
well,
it.
thank you for listening to all of my catch-up moments. Okay, now we are finally on Season 6, Episode 2. Original air date was September 26, 2013. Wild.
Yeah. Wow.
And we start this episode with Leslie trying to rush back home because of what she saw on Purge show. And I love that at the end she's like, let's go walk past Colin Firth's house again to like calm her down. It's really cute.
Yes. So cute. We had I was watching this episode again last night, and Ivan was watching with me this time. And he was like, Colin Firth, the guy from Hunger Games. And I was like, I'm so confused by who you mean right now.
Yeah.
Because and
who
so
was he thinking?
I had to look up a picture of Colin Firth and show it to him. He's like, I've never seen that man in my entire life.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I was like, also, how? Have you never seen
has he
Colin
not
Firth?
watched Love Actually?
I've not. He has not seen it. He probably saw it in college.
Yeah,
I think a whole group of people watched it. But yeah, he did not clock him. So I'm like, are you thinking of Stanley Tucci? That's the only big like guy name that I can pull other than Donald Sutherland, who he knows. And he's like, I know who Stanley Tucci is. It's like, okay. So I'm looking it up. I'm like, are you thinking Colin Farrell, who's also not in Hunger Games? And he's like, yeah, maybe. And he was thinking about Stanley Tucci.
Oh, that's so funny.
When I pulled the pictures up. Yeah. But I was like, Colin, where did you get Colin Firth out of any of this?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh my God. That's funny.
It's great.
And I mean, he is like, yeah, I feel like a lot of things that I've seen have been like chick flicks, I feel. But like What a Girl Wants, I think about him. Or I never saw the... What's it called? It's not Pride and Prejudice. What's the other one that he was in?
He was in Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, was he? Oh,
but the really long BBC version, it's like 6 episodes or something. It's not a movie. It's a series.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was also in The King's Speech, which is not.
Yes.
Yeah, is not
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mamma Mia, which I've watched. I've made Ivan watch.
Yes.
Yeah, he's out there.
Colin Firth moment. Yeah, he's out there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I have to say, like, this is so, I feel like we see this a lot from Leslie. We've definitely commented on this before. This is so reactive.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, oh my gosh, everything's on fire. I have to go fix it now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Leslie, take a breath. Like, you're literally saying you're going to go through all of this. You're going to miss the thing. You're going to, just to get home 2 hours earlier, which also fair point, like with all the international flights, it's hard sometimes. But yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, I see the spiral happening. Somebody get her out of the spiral.
It's so hard. And I mean, you really have to think, because I do this. I'm definitely guilty of this, spiraling and then realizing, well, what is it really going to do at that point? Like if you were to get there 2 hours early, like what can you do in 2 hours that you weren't going to already do 2 hours later? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, like, is the 2 hours worth the, the train and the speeding and the this and the that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too that I like thought about was like, it's not even a fire. It's people know she's in London. Like it's not, something happened at City Hall really bad or anything like that. It's legitimately just she's trying to save face, which I feel like she could have done with like a video and just like sent it out on her Facebook, because we found out Facebook is where it came from. So but classic totally. Leslie moment, I feel like.
I know. Well, and this would make more sense if she were to rush home after her speech, like after Jerry calls and like people thought.
Oh, Jerry, yeah.
Oh, Jerry. But yeah, you're right. Well, so now we're at the award ceremony, and I completely forgot that the lady who plays Khongordzol is in here. I love her so much. Oh my gosh.
She's great. Yeah, she's been in a lot more things now.
So many things. Yes, her name is Kaliko Kauai. I'm actually so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I think it's Kauai or something like this, and I'm so sorry if it's wrong. But I started watching Superstore only recently, which was created by the two people who worked on The Office and fell in love with her then. And then now she's on St. Denis Medical, where she plays a bit of a different role. Because in Superstore, she plays this kind of shy, like always made fun of, kind of like left out gal, and it's kind of funny.
She's so good.
She's so good. And then in St. Denis Medical, she plays a little bit more like tough, like what do you like ballsy gal, which I love. She's a nurse on there. She's so fun. Which is also the same creators from Superstore / The Office as it is on St. Denis. But yeah, I was looking at her IMDb. She's been in so many things, like an episode here and there of Two Broke Girls, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Big Bang Theory, Modern Family. Amazing. Looks like a few Nickelodeon things too. Big Time Rush, iCarly, Raven's Home, which is so cool.
It's very cool. I didn't know about those other things, but yeah. And how cool to get to have a broad spectrum of characters to play.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she was so good. And she's from Hawaii, which I thought was important to say because she's from Kauai and her last name is spelled very similar to Kauai. so
cool.
That's kind of what I'm basing the pronunciation off of. But I just thought that was cool. So, yeah, I'm obsessed with her. I love her very much. So I did reach out to her team, but we'll see what happens. I'd love to do a full interview with her and talk about the broad spectrum of everything she's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, she has a huge cheering section, and April is like obsessed with her. April says she grew up in a hut made of ice and mud, and April's obsessed with her too. And she was a wolverine wrangler, which I think is really funny.
Which I would have to look this up now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't remember there really being wolverines in Mongolia.
I know. I know. I did look up some. I have a little bit of a breakdown on Mongolia later.
Cool.
But I didn't really see about wolverines. So that would be a good question. Let's see. Are there wolverines?
They're along the western borders with Russia and China.
Okay.
And within the central mountains.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so there are.
Yeah.
These wolverines look so cute, though. They don't look scary.
That's not how I envision a wolverine either.
I know.
Okay, but that's freaking scary.
What? Oh, hold on. I can't see you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Their teeth are crazy.
This is not what a wolverine is to me. Maybe that's why I was like, there's no wolverines in Mongolia because I'm picturing a wolf.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That's all I'm imagining is like they have blades on their hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's
Maybe
so
it's
funny.
like the honey badger, where the honey badger, like you don't really anticipate them being so deadly, but they are.
Yeah. They can get you.
Okay, that's good to know. So,
Yeah.
all right. Anyhow, yes. And I was going to say they must have flown everyone out because I did look up to see if this conference room was in London because I was like, there's definitely a way for this conference room to have been maybe in LA or something, but it says that these conference scenes were shot in London. So it sounds like everybody came out to London to do that. So that's interesting and cool.
They were like, we have the budget. We will do it.
I know. I guess by season 6, they had some money. So a little bit, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, that's cool. And then we get to Heidi Klum.
Yes. Heidi Klum is such a big part of my childhood with my mom and watching
Really?
Project Runway.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. So she's great.
That. Yeah. Yes. So her character is from Denmark and her people love her. Her people made a statue out of goat cheese shaped like her. I think it's really funny that Leslie noticed that it was goat cheese.
Yeah. Good cheese eye, Leslie.
Known. Yes, good cheese eye, Leslie. So funny. Side note, Heidi Klum is actually German, not from Denmark. However, Silkeborg is a real town in Denmark. It looks beautiful, and I need to add that to my tour of this world.
Yes.
So fun.
What a beautiful part of the world that I have not seen.
And later they're going to consume me with crackers. I love it so much.
Yes.
She did a great job.
She really did. Yeah.
And it's really sad when she asks Leslie, what about your town? And Heidi Klum is really laying on thick. I don't think I knew as much as until I analyzed it, really laying on thick how many people love her and how much her town is like obsessed with her. They love me. Like she just keeps saying it. I'm like, okay, lady, we get it.
Yeah. I have on there as like, I feel like we're bragging like in front of Leslie. I think it feels worse and heavier like for us because we know what Leslie's going through and we
100%.
feel Leslie's like let down in
Yeah.
her hearing that Heidi's loved.
Right. Yeah. And I think maybe it's also just America in general. I feel like people, for the most part, I'm sure there are people that are obsessed with their leaders, but for the most part, I feel like we are not a culture that is obsessed with our politicians. Even if we agree with them, like obviously not regarding, like Obama and, people that are celebrity almost types.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like that's not the vibes here. So hearing her say like, they love me so much, I'm just like, okay. Yeah. But also I'm so excited that they do love her because it shows it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say we are, as a regular people, do not do that. No. There are pockets of not logical thinking that are like that.
Yeah. And you're right. It just sucks compared to Leslie's situation.
Yes, absolutely.
So Leslie kind of explains that her town is trying to recall her, and they laugh awkwardly because Heidi Klum cannot relate and has no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh. Your face is so symmetrical. Yeah. What a funny compliment to say right out the gate.
For real. Yeah, it is hard. Like, but she's, to even have the vulnerability to say, well, my town hates me, while you're hearing someone else. Like, I had a lot of respect for Leslie that she could lay it out like it was.
Yeah, well, and it just sucks too. I mean, we've kind of touched on this, but it just sucks that Facebook thing didn't happen after the speech.
Yeah.
Because then I would, but I mean, that's the whole point, is that now she's like flustered and hating that she doesn't get any thanks and that they don't like her in this wonderful award ceremony where so many of the recipients do have towns that love them. And it just sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked up how they got Heidi Klum, or why they got Heidi Klum, essentially. And the parks crew apparently really wanted someone super famous and well-known to be kind of the opposite mirror to Leslie, which mission accomplished as far as the character. Not the beauty, because Leslie's beautiful as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But just like, she's really tall, Leslie's kind of short, like all the opposite kind of mirrors, that the town hates her, and the town loves Heidi Klum. And yes, she was doing Project Runway at the time, so I think that she was kind of at peak notability, if you will. And Mike Schur is quoted as saying her town completely worships her, Heidi Klum's character, in a way that makes Leslie a little jealous, considering that Leslie is undergoing a recall vote in Pawnee. Yeah. He told that to EW.com when they were doing the whole, when this happened. EW did a little breakdown.
Cool.
So anyhow, April is now trying to go back to Mongolia with Khongordzol, and I wrote this note down and researched it later, like, is she really speaking Mongolian? And yes, she was. I looked it up. Did you know that?
That's cool.
Or did you like?
No, I wouldn't be able to recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, they could have totally just done some crazy other like syllables or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did research on how to pronounce yes and no, and she did do it correctly.
So cool.
This is kind of where I started a tiny bit of a breakdown, but there's so much to cover, so I'll just tell you what I found. So 94% of Mongolia speaks Mongolian. There are different dialects. There's something called, I wish I could pronounce this correctly. I did look up how to pronounce it, but I think I'm going to butcher it anyways. So the dialects are Oirat, Oirat,
yeah,
and Buryat, Buryat. And in the west of the country, the Turkic languages of Kazakh and Tuvan are also spoken because they also border Kazakhstan. And I did have to look up, I totally bordered, or I didn't know that they had bordered Russia and China because they were part of China at one point. So that was really interesting for me to find out. I love learning that.
Yeah. There's a province in China called Inner Mongolia.
Oh, okay.
And it's just the bottom. I'm assuming it's the bottom half that China got to keep when.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I read that after the collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1911, Mongolia declared independence and achieved actual independence from the Republic of China in 1921. So they're right above China and right below Russia. And I did read that this was my tiny little moment to see if like the way that they described Mongolia was correct or whatever, which I knew it would be, but I was just curious for my own education, that it is known for its vast and rugged expanses / land and nomadic culture. So this sounds about right, that it is like a tough life that she might live in her small like hut, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody lives in huts. I don't think that's completely accurate, but like I'm sure that, you know, that was her like upbringing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there still are a lot of at least Inner Mongolia has a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Like living in yurts and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I think that's real.
Yeah.
It says that Mongolia's temperature can fluctuate as much as 35 degrees in one day, which I'm pretty positive that's Celsius, that sounds insane. That's hot. That's like 100 and something, right? No.
Geez Louise, it can fluctuate 30 to 35 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's 95
insane
degrees Fahrenheit.
Because and 0 is 32. So if you think if it can go from 0, which is 32 Fahrenheit, to 35, which is like 90, 95, that's insane.
That's very desert vibes.
Yeah.
It says it's very dry and receives only about 4 inches of rainfall per year.
Yikes.
I found that on I think it was National Geographic. I'll post all my sources and everything, but it was like, I love when I look up stuff for parks and there's like a kids section because it's so fun and colorful.
Yeah.
And like right to the point. That's what I found for this one.
Oh my gosh.
And I just remember when NASA had one, I was looking up lasers when Andy takes a laser class.
Yeah.
And I loved that one. They had a NASA kids website. It was so great.
Yeah. I loved National Geographic Kid as a kid.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
awesome.
Great. Yeah.
So anyway, that's Mongolia's little breakdown.
Love it.
So well done for them. And then, so she runs away from April because April is like trying to be really obsessed with her and like wants to go home with her. And she's like, no. But yes, ugui means no. Or maybe it means yes. Shoot. I can't remember. It's either yes or no. Let's look it up now. Ugui in Mongolian, because I don't want to say something wrong and then I'll cut it out if I need to. Yes, no means ugui, or ugui means no, I should say. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I like the language. It's very intriguing to me.
Yeah. Well, and I love that they use the actual language too.
Me too. Okay, so Heidi Klum is making a speech and again is harping on how much they love her. They ate reindeer after it was trained to dance for her, and the reindeer was delicious.
Oh my gosh. That made me sad.
I know! She did a great job. Wonderful job, Heidi Klum. But I did not know. I have a sad thing to say. I was like, no way. Reindeer is not a form of meat. Can't be. It totally is. People really eat reindeer. And I mean, but at the same time, you could say that about any meat that we eat. Chickens are cute too. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's because it's a sad thing for like the whole Santa Claus situation that people have been trained.
It's part of our childhood.
Yeah, but especially in Scandinavian countries, this is a real thing. Reindeer or caribou is not just edible, but also a staple in some cultures and considered a healthy food source in many parts of the world. It's a lean meat, high in vitamins and minerals, and popular in Scandinavian countries and Alaska. This article that I was reading says, while some people may associate reindeer with Santa's sleigh and have a cultural aversion to eating them, reindeer meat is consumed in various forms, including steaks, stews, and dried jerky.
Yikes.
I've heard of caribou, though. The caribou is a type of coffee, too. Caribou coffee, you know what I mean? So, like, that must be, that must have a connection.
I think it was named after, I think it comes from a company that has a lot of caribou in their state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't remember the story.
Caribou, well, their headquarters is in Minneapolis, but I thought it was like Washington or something. But it was founded in Minnesota. So I wonder does Minnesota have?
I think they do.
Really? Oh my God. Does Minnesota have reindeer? Or I guess I should say, or caribou. Does not have native wild caribou known as reindeer, but they can be found on farms and at the Minnesota Zoo. What? Why was it named caribou? Coffee.
Yeah,
then.
weird.
That's weird. Maybe they're from somewhere that has it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Who knows?
Oh, okay. Caribou coffee was named after the founders' experience during a trip to Denali National Park in Alaska, where they
There
were
you go.
inspired by caribou herds in the rugged wilderness. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, well, so that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I've totally heard of caribou that they were an animal, but I don't think I really connected that they were reindeer, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the more you know. We're learning a lot here. Okay.
Yes, we are. Today's a learning day.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff going on. All right. So I'm sorry to say that, but here in Virginia, we do not have them, as far as I know. So maybe in Alaska, I think it's like trying buffalo. You know what I mean? Like you don't think buffalo is eaten, but it is served in many places as burgers, steaks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So Ben comes back, and sadly, Leslie is not ready for her speech when she usually is. And then we see the MC host lady come on. Brief moment on her. Her name. I like that she put her pronunciation of her name in her IMDb. Her name is spelled Sope. It's her first name, and last name is Aluko. And she says it's Shape Aluko, which is beautiful. And I want to read her IMDb bio because it's so very diverse and fun, and she seems super cool. She is a Nigerian-born actress, primarily raised in the UK. She spent her younger years traveling and living all over the world, including France, Tanzania, Trinidad and Tobago, and Indonesia. She has dual citizenship in both the US and the UK and speaks 4 different languages, including her native language, Yoruba Nigerian. So that's fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it says that while she was in the UK, she attended drama classes at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, or LAMDA, and extended her study into dance. And it goes on further, but I just wanted to read that little portion because it was really cool to me.
Yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, she's done a lot. Black Panther, she was in. Pitch Perfect 2, Venom. She's also a writer and producer. She's done a ton of things. And then when I was looking her up on IMDb, it says she was in 2 episodes of Parks. And you know what? IMDb does have these 2 episodes almost combined. Like it says that Kaliko was in the first one, but she's not. And so I wonder if they got credited as having been in 2 episodes when it was really 1, which is really cool. I don't know how that works with pay. Hopefully they got paid for like 2 episodes instead of just 1, maybe. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, that is really cool to me. I did reach out to her agents and she respectfully passed on our podcast, but that's okay. I told her that we're always here if she wants to.
Yeah. Nice.
So Leslie gets up to give her speech. It starts off so well, and then she just goes off the rails about being honest about how she feels and how her town hates her.
Yeah, Amy Poehler does an amazing job here because it's all scripted, right? But you can tell when she stops reading her speech.
Mm-hmm.
Like the little ad lib thing that takes her into her tangent, like, is so natural. Yes. So I think she did such a great job. And it makes me so sad especially because I think they teased us at the end of last episode when we got to hear what she was going to say.
Yes.
And
that's so good.
Yeah, it feels, I don't know, I think I had it written. You forgot about the people who do support you, Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
Like April, the people at the Parks Department who fight for you, the people who voted for you, that you're taking all the negative, which I understand because it's so hard to sometimes when you have all the negative flying at you, but you're just taking the negative and you're not feeding those people who really fight for you every day. And it's so sad, but I get it because she gets it all the time. She gets this negativity all the time and it just gets so tiring.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Everything you said is so on point. Yeah. And it does suck too, because I mean, like you said, at this point, she hasn't really had the positive people coming into her office, but also she set herself up for that because no problem too small. Like you're not going to have the people that don't have any problems coming into your office and thanking you, Yeah. But she is trying to focus on turning the people that want to recall her, to vote for her or to support her rather. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're so right. This is such a good speech that she gives too, and it really just kind of speaks to so many politicians probably and how they feel, or not even politicians, but just people that like don't feel thanked in their jobs or don't feel appreciated in their jobs. Like, oh my gosh, the two quotes that I love the most are, I love Pawnee, but it sucks. But sometimes it sucks.
Yeah.
That was just like point blank to the point. And then the second one I love so much, and I think about this quote so much just with what we're dealing now with politics, but also in general, I feel when people aren't thanked is like I think about, and Ron alludes to this too, but I thought about like motherhood a lot of the times when she says they cling to their fried dough and their big sodas, and then they get mad at me when their pants don't fit. And I was like, that's such a parent thing too, which, yeah, I do love that metaphor that Ron brings up. Like, you can't, get mad at the kid. You're the adult kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it does suck because in politics, the people are adults. They're not children, but they act like it,
Absolutely.
And then she just kind of drives the nail in the coffin with the pee-pee heads. Like that sucked. To call them that. She doesn't rein it in at all. I was kind of think that maybe she'd be like, okay, I'm sorry I said all that, like here's what my actual speech was gonna be, but she just kind of gives up and is like, oops, I should probably get off stage, bye. And it's so cringy, but like you feel for her, man. And Ben's face during the whole thing of like,
oh no,
what, oh no, it's happening.
How am I gonna damage control this is
right.
what his brain's doing.
It's so sad. But yeah, I do feel like torn in this moment because it's so sad and it's so like terrible, but like at the same time, you so feel for her in this moment. And I think that's what's the most important thing as an audience member. You so want her to be able to say how she feels and to get this anger out. Or at least for me, that's how I felt.
Yeah, because you're also angry at Pawnee.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of how much you've seen that she does do for this. And then it just makes it, oh God, it's just insult to injury to hear Heidi Klum talk about how much her town loves her. And then, oh my gosh, I forgot even about the whole thing with the piñata and broccoli was inside, shaped like Leslie. Oh my God, that is so terrible. That is so bad. Hate it.
It's rough.
It's rough stuff.
It's all rough.
So anyway, yeah, it sucks. And also that something else in her speech too, I thought that was really interesting, that she talks about being a public servant her whole life and she's dedicated so much to the people. And I do feel like here she is wishing she would get a thanks, but I feel like even before this and even now, like she just wants to stay in office. When she gets to Ron, she does want the thank you, I think. But here it's like, I think she's just expressing her anger about, I just wanted to serve. And now look at what, and it is really confusing. And I was wondering if the voters in Pawnee would even care. Like, would it have been enough? Because a part of me feels like they're so hell-bent on their lack of growth and their lack of wanting someone to lead them in a good direction that a part of me feels like I don't even know if they'd care if she had a good speech.
Yeah.
It would have helped the campaign.
Yeah.
And maybe would have turned things around, and maybe she wouldn't have, maybe like in this new vote or whatever, it would have been okay. But I don't know.
And the people who show up to watch her speech that Jerry puts together, those people are Leslie fans, I'm going to assume.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just lost them.
Except for Pinewood. Pinewood was there.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. But I think like as somebody who would look up to her,
yeah,
like losing that executive presence that she typically has is so hard, because it's like, oh, this person that I'm voting for, this person that I've been looking up to just called me and my townspeople pee-pee heads.
Yeah. Totally.
It's so hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. No, you're so right. Oh, I do love that Silkeborg is going to make a goat cheese statue of Leslie now. Olga?
Yeah.
Let's start a goat cheese statue.
So nice.
Okay, so Anne and Chris are announcing they are pregnant, and Donna immediately guesses it. Donna is so good. Retta is amazing. I love this. And she also notices that Chris changed to boxer briefs. Oh my gosh. Even though he was wearing pants. I think that is so brilliant.
It's amazing. And then Anne being like, please stop looking at him.
Yeah.
The whole interaction.
Yes. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get into my Anne and Chris little moment.
Do it.
Not critique, but a little bit of a critique. Me as an audience member, I don't know. I feel like when I was watching this, I was like, wait, did we not already know that she's pregnant because of the doctor's office? But then I realized that, okay, now they're just telling people. Like, I don't know. I think that timeline just didn't flow for me. I was like, wait, weren't they pregnant at the end of last season? And then we had just decided that they wanted to get pregnant naturally, but they never figured out how they were actually going to co-parent because they had that little conversation. And then they
no answers though.
Right. No answers. Exactly. And they kind of they ended the conversation with, okay, want to make out. And it's like, okay, but nothing was solved. They never defined the relationship, I think, which isn't necessarily important all the time, but for this particular instance, I feel like I was just confused, to be honest with you. And then last episode, I was like, okay, they're clicking, like as far as like the ring mishap where they just got, manicures together. And I don't know, I feel like it's still kind of weird to me. It was like kind of choppy I guess, this storyline, because when they were at the doctor's office, I think in my head, I was like, oh, this is just a checkup, but I think it was actually the confirmation of the pregnancy, like that first like doctor's appointment that you go to make sure that you're pregnant. I don't know why in my head I was like, no, they knew they were pregnant. Like we've already talked about this. I guess this is where we're going. And I guess I just thought that this was like, a regular old checkup when they already knew they were pregnant because they've been talking about it forever. And I think in my head I was just like, oh, it just didn't flow for me.
Yeah.
When they were telling people, I was like,
well, for me,
I don't know.
I feel like the first people you tell are Leslie and Ben.
Yeah.
Like, because what if Leslie gets back and like Donna tells her because she accidentally, thinks that Leslie already knows. Like, I don't know. For me, I had that note at the end where it was like, how does Leslie not know yet? Like, right. And I understand they probably found out while she was in London, but I don't know. It does seem very like, let's walk around City Hall and tell people that we're pregnant. Like, and it's very it's just very interesting. It's like they're trying to use them telling people together to help build the view of them as a couple in our heads as the audience.
Oh, maybe that's a good point. That's what it is probably.
Yeah. But it still feels just disjointed. I see what they were trying to do. Yeah. But it still just feels disjointed.
Yes. Disjointed. Great word. Yeah. I also felt like, when they're having their little conversation after they're like freaked out about everybody knowing, and she's like, for so long it was just our thing and now everybody knows. And I was like, first of all, was it though? You talked to Tom about getting back together and like not really. I mean, maybe the pregnancy was your thing, but then secondly, you decided to tell everybody. So how's it just gonna? I understand that she was like just observing, like, oh, this was our thing, now it's everybody's, and maybe I like didn't expect to feel this way after we told everybody or something. But in my head I was like, that doesn't match for me for some reason. I'm sure it matches for some people, but for me it just didn't really like click.
Yeah. The entire sentiment behind that clicks for me.
Sure.
Because when you make that decision to tell people, like, because, you're kind of living in this bubble together, like no one else knows that you're starting your family. And it was a very intentional decision for us how long we were going to keep it between the two of us and just bask in that and get your feelings around it. Right. I know they were really I know that they were really intentional. I mean, we were intentional as well, but you still have your feelings about it that you gotta, get through. So I understand what she's saying, but like, you've been so open about this whole process with everyone. Like, everyone now knows that you're trying to have this baby naturally. It's just been so, I think that's why everybody's kind of nonchalant about it. Yeah. Except for Leslie,
Right. Because it's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am happy for them. I don't want to get it twisted. I am happy for them, and I want it to, everything is wonderful for them, and but it was just like weird for me. As per
Yeah.
usual with this relationship. Now, I will say I think they're going to make a great baby. I think they're going to make great parents, and their baby's going to be beautiful because they're both beautiful and they're both lovely people and perfect. But yeah, just the combining of those two forces of those two characters was like, in the pregnancy anyway, was kind of like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I got to wrap my head back around this.
Perfect.
Let's see. Jerry calls Leslie and breaks the sad news, even though he meant really well. First of all, she doesn't remember Jerry, which I think is hilarious. Jerry who?
That's so funny. So
know.
well acted. And then she's so upset when she finds out it's Jerry Gergich. She's like, Jerry.
I don't want to waste my international minutes.
Yeah. Which, damn, what a callback. International
I know,
minutes.
right? Totally.
Yeah.
So he live streamed the speech and everybody saw it, which is terrible for her campaign. They saw that she hates Pawnee now, or thinks Pawnee sucks anyway.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. There is a deleted scene where Leslie panics / spirals again, going back to, where I had said it would be cool if she had spiraled at the beginning of the episode, like after she finds out that the speech was broadcast in Pawnee. There is one, but it was cut out, where she was like, okay, it's fine. I'll fake my death. I'll go live in Silkeborg. And Ron is like, I think we need to get some fresh air. And this is when they're at the bench.
Yeah. A beautiful view, by the way.
Beautiful view.
Yeah.
And while I'm here talking about deleted scenes, she does get back to Pawnee and she does apologize. I think that was something that it didn't show in this episode, which was, neither here nor there really, but it is kind of important in a way, because I kind of wish they wouldn't cut it, because that's so Leslie. She did apologize. She did, kind of say, I'm on your side. And in my head, when I saw her apologize, because she did say, like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, a part of me was like, you don't really owe them anything. You don't need to say sorry. They owe you something. But as a politician, like, back to Ron's thing of you're the adult here, she is a public servant, which, means that an apology is the best thing to do. And she goes on Perd's show to give that apology. So that's interesting.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm glad, because we didn't see that.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, I did record some of these deleted scenes, so let's go, and I'll play them right now.
Perd for having me on his show, and I will do that by thanking him. Thank you.
Certainly took you long enough to sing it.
I thought that was the
gosh.
funniest deleted scene because, Leslie does what Perd always does.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And then I think this is this apology.
Some of you may have seen a video of me disparaging Pawnee on my recent trip to England. I'm very sorry. It was childish and tankelush. It's Danish for thoughtless. I learned a little Danish because I thought for a second I would have to move to Denmark due to my forlegenhed, or embarrassment. The point is, there was no excuse for what I said. I'm very sorry, and I truly hope that you can forgive me.
How do you respond to accusations that you traveled to Europe? And a follow-up question here, how dare you?
Well, it is true, Perd, I did go to Europe, but I'm sorry, I don't think that's bad. I think it is good to travel and meet new people and...
It goes on further, but I thought that was the point, essentially. And I think that's such a good growth moment for Leslie, too, which we'll talk about a little bit later when she mentions it, too, that now she wants to travel. Her world is expanding.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for both of them.
I do, too. All right, so let's see here. Ron takes Leslie outside to get some fresh air and cool off, and Leslie is saying she doesn't feel bad about what she said. And for Leslie to say, kind of back to my point, where for Leslie to say that Pawnee has been really pissing me off lately, that was a big deal to me.
Yeah, that's heavy.
That's really heavy. She's getting jaded, and that's something you never think that Leslie, especially in the first few seasons, you would think that she would get jaded, but I think that's so wonderful and integral to her story and how far she's come, and also like what this does to you to be a public servant. Like, you don't stay as optimistic and as positive when you've been beaten down, and it's so hard to stay motivated to continue to do the work. So I think that was really interesting for them to show that, and super cool.
Very human.
Very human. And this is where Ron says, you have to be the grown up. And I love Amy Poehler's like, I know, you're right. But it's so hard, Ron. Like, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, you need somebody in your life you can have these conversations with where it's like, I'm going to show you how frustrated I am. I'm going to get to act like the kid for a second because I'm so pissed off. And then I can go be the adult I have to be in my job.
Yeah. And I disagree that you can't be upset when no one thanks you when he says that. But you just can't make that your whole reason for stopping. And he does make a good point that April did thank her. Back to your point, too. April did thank her and does respect her. And going back to last week about how that was so beautiful to see her show love for Leslie and encourage her. And you're right, that people did vote for her. So there are people on her side. It's just hard to see right now.
Yeah.
And it's so true what he says about don't start chasing applaud and acclaim. That way lies madness. That's so real for no matter what industry you're in.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you lose the heart you have for it, it's
so
not
hard.
good for anybody.
Yeah. So this is where Leslie gives him the wedding gift. I don't know how she did this. I'm looking back of how, what? How did she do this? Did she I don't know. Who did she talk to? Did she travel herself to do this to make sure everything will work out? What? So crazy.
Yeah. Travel agent, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then Ron starts to understand that there's lots of things he loves about Europe, and he's not even opening his eyes to the fact that there's 8,000 pubs, and that's what the UK loves to drink.
Yes.
Come on. And butcher shops. Hello?
Oh yeah.
God.
Love a good pub.
Yeah. So he's going to learn some more amazing things, too, that Leslie leads him to find in Scotland. Hello. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So now Anne and Chris goes to Jerry. They go to Jerry to tell him that Anne is pregnant. And oh my gosh, Jerry had to cancel his cardiologist appointment to work. Oh my God, Jerry.
Oh, poor Jerry.
Yes.
But also, he makes this so gross.
It's
awkward.
so gross and disgusting. This is one of the parts, I think, in this show when I was actually on Anne and Chris's side a tiny bit. After he does this part right now where Chris cuts him off and says here's a piece of information that is interesting. I was like, Chris,
rude.
That was rude, but okay. And then Jerry starts to talk about the pregnancy and they both hate the things he's saying. Clothes feeling tight, everyone rubbing your belly. Jerry gained sympathy weight and looked a lot like Chris before this. And Chris is like, I'm very sad. Please stop talking.
Yeah.
And then the milk thing. Oh my God, so gross. As he's drinking milk, it's on his lips, and Jim O'Heir did a great job at this.
He
applause.
did. It's so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable, and yeah, for the first time, I was like, Jerry, shut up, stop it.
Yeah.
but what's so beautiful, I think, and what I'm glad that they did was have him kind of round out that speech monologue, whatever thing, with oh, life is so beautiful, because Jerry doesn't even know. How this is disgusting to them.
I know it, and it's showing his real sentiment behind it, right? It's
absolutely.
He's
the
just
genuineness.
Yeah, the miracle of life. It's something with it's got to be something with Mike Schur and Greg Daniels, that this whole vibe, because in The Office, it's Kevin, and he cries at Pam's boobs, and it's so uncomfortable. And I can't believe Pam, because I'm going to be real with you, I would have bitch slapped someone if they did that to me.
Right. It's so effed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it makes me so infuriated to still watch those scenes now, and even though I've seen them 50 times.
Right. I know. Yeah.
It's just, so
tough
very
stuff.
interesting. But yes, I like that your point that it rounds out at the end, that he's really just a dad, remembering the miracle of life. And
right.
As gross as he is, but
yes, exactly. So now Andy and April are on the London Eye, which I really want to do sometime. I've never done that, even though I've been to London. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I would love to do that as well. I have a scaredy cat husband that doesn't like heights, but maybe we can do it together.
Yeah, we'll do it together. That's fine. But we did do the Vegas one.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah, what a great moment that was.
I know. That was fun.
Yeah, it's just you, me, and Connor.
Who else? I knew it was you, me, and Connor, and I was like, was anyone else there? That's nice.
I don't think so. I think it was just the three of us.
That's so nice. Cute.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing that they're talking about is that Andy didn't notice they drive on the other side of the road, which I thought was really hilarious. To me.
Because he has to have been in a car.
Right. Yeah.
Because they like the airport isn't like, well, I guess they could have taken the subway, but why?
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, it's like, yeah, you've gotten into a car and didn't realize that the driver was on the other side.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's different for him, because they're talking about like everything's backwards here. How is he going to do this job for Lord Covington, Lord Fancy Face, as they call him, which I love.
Yes.
And the other thing that's different is Piccadilly Circus, which is not a circus.
No, it's not.
I don't know if you saw this, but IMDb had a thing that said that it could be a Jethro Tull reference to their song Mother Goose, because the lyrics say, and the foreign student said to me, is it really true there are elephants, lions too in Piccadilly Circus? And the bearded lady said to me, if you start your raving and you're misbehaving, you'll be sorry. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. I did see that, but I didn't like look up the song or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, huh.
Anyway, maybe.
Yeah. It is not, by the way, a circus.
Correct.
It's kind of like London's Times Square, is my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny to me. Anyway, they're talking about how Andy could possibly do this because he doesn't know how to do it and is really scared. And I love seeing April's support. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, she's doing a great. I have a comment that says, "Good wifing, April."
Yeah,
like, she
very
did
good job.
such a great job. You know, hey, we're gonna get through it. Like, you got to do what you got to do for you. And I think she did a great job.
Yeah, I'm bringing up the point that she was in Washington last year, so you know they've done it before, they can do it again. I also love that this funny comment of, you know, he doesn't know how to run a nonprofit, and she was like, "You shine shoes and never made a profit."
Yeah.
Like, so
Same
he basically
thing.
ran a nonprofit.
Yeah, same thing.
That was really funny to me.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So Tom is now with the lawyers and all the Sapersteins except the mom, which I was wondering where the mom was, but we do touch on that later. She turned 30 and the dad kicked her out. Mm-hmm. So that's lovely. Hate that.
Yeah. Great.
I love the Tom is still using the word trill. Can I say how trill it is to be here? I love that. Addressing people in a dope conference room or whatever he says. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I love this dynamic between all the Sapersteins. I know it's shitty and I do hate it, but these characters together are so fun.
Well, yeah, and the actors, they all gelled really well together. And
yes.
Yeah.
Love
it's
they
infuriating.
Call him Daddy.
But yeah.
Yeah, it is infuriating. But I do love that they call him Daddy still, Daddy D.
Daddy D.
And oh my gosh, yeah, John Ralphio lied about everything for his entire life. Trophies I bought.
Gosh.
He never went to math camp, doesn't
I
even
don't
know
even know
what
what that
camp
is. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And then Mona Lisa's moment that I truly say all of the time when she's like, not this part, that I have done nothing wrong ever.
Ever?
I know this. Her dad
So
says.
good.
But the GIF animation thing that I use all the time and the line that I always say is money please. Money please.
Samesies.
I love it so much.
So good.
And I love that Dr. Saperstein just gives it to her. He just is like, okay, yeah, I have cash. Here you go, honey.
Some people live their life like that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Nuts.
And Tom is like, look, all due respect, like your kids are crazy and terrible. I love John Ralphio, but he's insane. So drop
Disaster.
this. Yes. And also the lawyer does look like Beaker from the Muppets.
He does. Yeah. Not wrong. She's not wrong.
Not wrong. And then Dr. Saperstein says he's not going to give up the business, even though he knows that it's not the truth anymore. Ugh, it's making money now. So even though they lied, he's just going to keep going. So annoying. I hate that.
Yeah, I agree.
The
It's
rich
awful.
get richer. It's so annoying because Dr. Saperstein, you already have money. What are you doing, honey?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I have to say there's such a juxtaposition in this episode between Leslie and Tom. This whole series, or the majority of the series, Tom has been like a kid and needs a lot of direction and needs a lot of support. And Leslie's the adult. And in this episode, she's throwing a tantrum. And Tom he's like dadding all these people right now.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to
interesting.
see him in that sphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, and then the sapristines just go on like nothing happened. And okay, I'll see you guys for dinner tonight. Oh my god. And then Tom is just left with his head in his hands essentially, and I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
I was also going to point out that it is kind of sad because we move on to Anne and Chris wanting to tell Leslie now and how she landed and everything. And it is kind of sad that Anne didn't get to go to Washington or London because I would have loved to see like two BFFs like hanging out outside of Pawnee.
For real. Yeah. They never do anything like that.
Right. I know. Ethel Beavers doesn't care about Anne and Chris, which I love. She's right.
Yeah.
She does barely know you. Like, why would she care?
Yeah.
And I love this. I don't have to talk to you unless it's about work.
I love that.
Rest in peace, Helen Slayton Hughes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
she's so good. I love her. Okay, so they get excited because they know Leslie's about to land, and she's the one that's excited, which is so wonderful. And I do love this dynamic. This is really important to keep the Anne and Leslie friendship alive. And we cut to them squeezing each other, which is so cute. I love that.
Same. I love them together so much. I'm sorry, there was an ant on my microphone.
Oh no!
They are my least favorite thing in the entire world. I hate them.
Are they the little tiny ones or the big ones?
Oh, tiny ones. Oh, I hate them so much.
Oh my god. The tiny
And
ones are like, and then they come in like huge clusters.
Yes. So I'm sorry I got distracted, but I was
No,
like,
you're
something's moving on my microphone.
I literally hate that.
But yes, this whole little scene with Leslie and the jet lag and the crab.
Yes,
I love it
it's so good.
so much. So well acted. Her little like side eye, like, I know you're not a
it's
crab.
Anne.
It's so good.
Yes. It says she took a sleeping pill, then changed her mind. So she took Zap Vigil, apparently. And I looked that up, and there isn't one called that, but there is a modafinil. I don't know how you pronounce it. Modafinil, I don't know. Sold under the name Provigil, which is a nervous system stimulant and wakefulness promoter. Some people compare it to Adderall.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor, so don't take any medical advice from me, okay? I'm just telling you what I found on Google. That doesn't mean that you should start taking those medicines. I'm just telling you what I found on Google. Okay? Anyhow. but Provigil and Zap Vigil sound similar, so maybe they got the idea from them.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so yeah, she thinks that Anne is a crab. Oh my god, don't pinch me. I love that she's like, has her like karate hands. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
Well, so now Ron is on his treasure hunt that Leslie gave him, and I want to know about filming there. I need to look up maybe if Norm Hiscock was still a part of the producing team at this point or something, because I know he would answer me, but I'm not sure if he was in season 6, so I need to look that up because I want to know about like permits and stuff. Like, were there other people on that train that Ron was on? Did they just buy a ticket and shoot on there, or did they rent the whole train, or how did that work? I wonder.
Yeah. Great questions.
Yeah.
Would be
So I'm gonna try
fascinating to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to figure that out.
Nice.
Okay, so Leslie is now cleaning the slugs off of Gretel's sidewalk with April, and she's not at all happy about it. So annoying. Like, you seriously, this is again the fried dough thing line where it's like, you asked about getting rid of the slugs and now you're mad at her for doing it. I didn't want all the slugs gone, and I'm just like, ugh. So annoying.
Yeah.
But, that was Leslie's point as far as like taking Ron's, heart note to heart, essentially, and saying that's not why we do this. We don't do this for the thanks. And I did look it up, and I did a lot of research on this episode, I guess. Random research, but I looked it up, and they say, these articles I found say that it's not always effective, like the coffee and slugs thing, but it can help. Caffeine is apparently toxic to slugs, and they don't like the smell, so that drives them away, but not always. And it also says that a caffeine solution is more effective than just the coffee grounds, which I don't really know what that means. Like, maybe that's coffee, or like there is like a pure caffeine like liquid that you can find online. So I don't know if that's what it is that they're talking about that's more effective. Also, some say that they don't like to crawl over the ground coffee because it's like lumpy and hard to crawl over, so sometimes they'll turn back. But
I'm sure it
that's
gets stuck on them too.
Right. But that's not like 100% effective to get rid of slugs. But apparently the coffee grounds also will help your garden because coffee has nitrogen, and that that was kind of the issue for Gretel, I think, to make sure that the slugs weren't eating her plants, and also that they're gross. That's what Gretel said.
And also they're gross.
Yes. And yeah, there's quite a few forums / articles on coffee and slugs. So it clearly, has been around, but we're not sure how effective it is. So maybe try it if you see something's eating your plants, and then if not, then don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
And I love that April can tell that Leslie's upset. Like, yeah, it's, know.
She's emotionally, way more emotionally intuitive than I think people give her credit for.
Definitely. Especially now that she's getting older and we're further on in the seasons. She's starting to care more about people and really notice things. So that's lovely.
Yeah. Agreed.
So Ben is now back to work at Sweetums, and Lord Covington gave him like 1 million corgis. Apparently, Jessica Wick brings them in, which is hilarious.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This girl.
And then this is where, I know this lady. But this is where the shot of Andy at Stonehenge keeps coming up, because apparently he got on the wrong chain. And in the last episode, I said he kept calling it Stonehenge. That was one of the webisodes that I talked about last week. He's like, this isn't right. I love that he shouts Eddie and like, Eddie, as if he's just going to be there.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if trains go out that far.
Okay, I looked it up. It says...
Okay, good.
Yeah, we had the same train of thought here, because by train, it's 2 hours from London. So he really must just have stayed on there and been like, I guess I'm going right.
He's going to be so late.
Yes. And then 2 hours back. Oh my gosh. Imagining Andy in a train station trying to get to the right place is kind of scary
by
to
himself.
be honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That is concerning.
But yeah, it's really far away from London. So yeah. So she calls Ben, Jessica Wick calls Ben Sugarbutt, and he's thinking that it's the dog name, but it's really him. And I was like, yeah, that is inappropriate a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yes. So our next scene is where John Ralphio talks about his mom and how Dr. Saperstein told her to get out when she was 30, which I was like, ew, this family, get out of here.
Yeah.
I love them so much as characters, but damn, they're terrible.
But you're awful people.
And then I was like, honestly, Tom, because he was comparing himself to who he thinks he should be at this point. And I was like, you don't want to be Zuckerberg anyway. Okay. You don't want to be him.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So that's good that you're not him, Tom. That's good.
Yeah.
I did have to look up who the Winklevoss twins were, because I knew that name, but I didn't really know who they were.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read what I found. And I literally just copy and pasted this from Google. So Cameron and Tyler are their first names, American entrepreneurs and investors known for co-founding the cryptocurrency exchange Gemini and for their legal dispute with Mark Zuckerberg over the creation of Facebook. They also competed as rowers for the United States in the 2008 Beijing Olympics, which I did not know.
I actually don't think I knew that either. That's cool.
Yeah. So
very cool. I did know they rode.
Yeah. I feel like everybody got in fights with who started Facebook, and Zuckerberg was just like, fuck you guys, bye. Like, okay. I'm laughing because I am crying too. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
John Ralphio is definitely on Tom's side, which I love this. I'm basically babyface. You're basically babyface.
Yeah.
So funny. So it's kind of cute that John Ralphio is still like supporting Tom, even though he knows, that his dad is like a terrible person. But a part of me is like, you know that what's happening is bad, yet you still are like, whatever, it's a win-win for me. But he does hype Tom up, and I think that's what I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah. He does. I mean, he has some redeeming qualities.
Right. And he's asking Tom if he wants to come to dinner with him and his dad. And I'm like, oh my God, so unaware, but also fully aware at the same time, because he just said it, but he just doesn't care. So
yeah. There are no rules for John Ralphio.
Right. Exactly. So this is where we get to Ann and Chris moment about, it was once their thing and now it's everybody else's thing. And like I said, I think the thing I'm holding on to, this is where I had my note, that Ann and Chris are just both great people and cute people, and they'll make a great baby. So I wanted to be more invested and interested and involved. And it's kind of sad that I'm like not feeling it at this moment, but that's the thing that I'm holding on to, that they're both great people and they're going to make a great baby.
They are. That they are. Chris needs to calm down though, like on this sodium stuff.
Yeah. It is kind of nice that it's like their own thing. Sometimes you just don't get a relationship, but I think that they're trying to do a good job of like, Anne is into him no matter how crazy he is in a way. Like when she said like, I would prefer chickpea, that whole thing. And she's just like laughing or smiling with him. And I'm like, okay, I guess they get each other. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is cute. I read on IMDb and I totally forgot about this, that they do name their first kid Oliver.
They do,
so
yeah.
maybe that's a callback to Olive. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I'm sure they did. I'm going to say they did.
I'm sure they did. It's too close.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is where April reads Leslie the submission, which is so beautiful. Which, side note, the roadkill scrape-a-thon. Ew.
Gross.
Hate this.
Yeah.
Love that Leslie starts crying
No.
immediately. Like she hasn't even started reading and she's like bursts into tears.
That's so funny. My note literally says crying immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
And this
Sincerely,
is where,
Satan.
Sincerely Satan. I love that. Oh my God. April is like Ron in a way where she's really becoming a softie, but on the outside she has a hard shell.
Yeah.
This is where it made me cry with April's words over Ron's trip. That was exceptional. I loved it. It was emotional. It was deep. It was perfect. The whole line of, if you're lucky to know Leslie, she is only going to make your life better. And she spends all of her time trying to make your life better. And I was like, it's such a great message, like positivity over apathy. Like when she says that, you know, nobody in this town really cares about anything. But Leslie does, like she actually truly cares. And this whole like empathy over selfishness, it's just so powerful. And I just thought it was so beautiful. And especially with like the visual scenery of how beautiful the bluffs and everything were that Ron was going on. And then not only is Leslie like making April's life better by being a mentor to her, and now April's repaying that, but Leslie's also making Ron's life better. And it's just so beautiful. Friendship and positivity and hope is so powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah. When everything else is going wrong, you've got these people in your life. Yeah.
It's so nice. And then they're going to hug each other. That's really beautiful. Leslie runs after April to hug her. It's so cute.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, yeah. So I was just going to briefly mention that all those scenes of Ron like walking around and being at the house, getting a hat, all these things, those are all the webisodes. So like they made actual scenes and then they just spliced them into this little montage. And that hat that he's wearing on the boat was given to him by like a lighthouse guy. So that was really cute. Just a little behind the scenes moment. I love that.
Cool.
And
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And that tag at the end, where he's like, you know, at the Lagavulin place again, that was all webisodes. Like those were full episodes, kind of. So it's so
very
beautiful.
cool.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. And then the poem, are you kidding me? I already started crying at the other thing, and then the poem happened and Ron gets choked up too. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, when Ron gets choked up, it's so easy to get choked up because he just doesn't get choked up by things very easily.
Yes.
So,
and then at the end, I don't know what she thought I'd get from that. Like, whatever. I'm not crying.
What a Ron response.
Totally. So lovely. I did look it up. Side note, Lagavulin, the distillery, is about a 12-hour train ride, or 10 hours from London. So I don't know how they did that. I guess they spent a couple extra days there. I can't imagine bringing the whole crew and everything, like all your equipment, everything and whatever. I don't know. That must have been wild.
I wonder. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was
crazy.
thinking the main reason, not main reason, but one of the reasons I looked it up was because, you know, Brooklyn lives in the UK now. And I was like, how long would it take us to get to Lagavulin if I go and visit her? And I was like, oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
But we can make it work. But I was like, maybe it won't be that far, but it is.
Yeah.
It's like a full day. So anyhow.
Yeah.
I guess we could stop in the
Yikes.
middle and take pauses and sightsee or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
There's a way.
there is a way. All right, so we're rounding it out. Leslie and Ben are at their beautiful sunflower mural back in Pawnee, and this is again back to kind of that deleted scene with Perd when she's talking about traveling. It's so kind of shocking to me as an audience member, and perfect and wonderful that she's talking about loving Pawnee, but there's so much more she wants to see and do. And this is the first time that she's really talked about how do we expand our horizons here. I want to see other things. Pawnee is like so beautiful and lovely, but there's a whole world out there. And I love that.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that in the past too, like in the early seasons, about how like she's so narrow-minded in Pawnee.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't ever want to leave. She's like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like these negative things that are happening are a gift to her, because it's going to allow her to leave and see other parts of the world and then choose to return to Pawnee, but not be stuck there.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And it's also, I think it's so cool to see, like, at the beginning she was saying, I know Pawnee isn't London or Paris. Like when she wrote her book and she was like the best in the town or whatever, or the best town in America, whatever it's called. Sorry.
Yeah.
But she says that, you know, like, I know this isn't Paris, but I love Pawnee. But I think now she's actually seeing, like, Paris is cool though. Like London
I should
is
go to
cool,
Paris.
though. Like other things are really cool. So I just love that illustration. That's really cool.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, yeah. And I had a note here. I thought this was perfect timing for the show. And it's really interesting to just compare it to other TV shows, because in this time, like in this like season 6, season 5 kind of thing, is where you really do need a good old fashioned shakeup, I feel. And you need something like different. Like we need to figure out where we're going here. And I was comparing it to Friends. Like I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because season 6 is where Ross and Rachel get married in Vegas. And you're just like, what? And season 5 is where Chandler and Monica get together, like at the end of season 5. I mean, it's also where Ross says Rachel's name, like that's a whole thing. So season 5, season 6, I feel is like a really like, okay, what are we doing? What's gonna, like, where are we gonna go from here? And Monica and Chandler getting together was like one of the biggest like shakeups I feel for the show, because you did not see that coming. And I thought that was really cool. And for me, I could see Leslie going somewhere else, but I didn't really anticipate her thinking, I want to go travel and not be in Pawnee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even, again, you could see that she was gonna maybe be something bigger than city council, but I didn't really anticipate, like, you could run for Congress. You could do something in the Department of Interior. I guess, which maybe is, you know, something that the writers did because she was so focused, like you said, narrow-minded on Pawnee. So I think that's really interesting to have something, you know, different and new.
Yeah, absolutely. The Office does it too. At the end of season 5, Charles Minor comes in and Michael goes off and starts Michael Scott Paper Company, and he comes back, but then we find out that Jim and Pam are pregnant.
Right. Yeah, see that exactly. I really love looking at those parallels and being like, how did the writers make season 5, season 6
keep it new?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, Leslie got a barrister wig, which, by the way, a barrister is a legal advocate or lawyer for Ben, and she thinks it's going to be sexy, but nope, failed experiment.
Failed experiment. Same though. He put that on and I was like,
I love that Ben was like, what's up?
Yeah. He tried.
He did.
He did it for her.
Okay, so I did look up also why they wore wigs. I was like, why did they even do that? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Apparently it was a symbol of formality, tradition, and the history of the legal profession. Also, apparently, I would need to do deeper research, but something that I found too in one of these articles, I think it was like history.com or something, apparently hair loss was also a big deal around this time. And a part of that was, it was a symptom of syphilis, which was spreading, which, you know, if you know anything about history, that was a big thing. It was like, what is even happening to us? So syphilis was spreading, and also lice. that was something that happened around this time. So the hair loss was happening. So I can't say that's like exactly the reason why, but I think that contributed to why they continued to wear the wigs. Plus King Louis XIV of France had a balding spot and he wore a wig, and he was apparently instrumental in having wigs be like for the elite or for like a person of prominence, like a lawyer or someone that has a little bit more of a higher position. And this article says that sometimes they still wear the wigs in England. And
I've seen that.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. That's
I'd
nuts.
love to know how many people actually still wear the wigs.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. It's like a nod to history.
Right. So, I can't say I understand it, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. But I think that is really fascinating that around that time, that's what was going on for them to want to continue wearing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then also, I can't remember, there was another king in England that also wore the wig too, which again was kind of similar to King Louis, where it was like, well, he's the king, so, and he's in a position of prominence, so maybe we should all be wearing that. You know what I mean? For our symbolic nature. So yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for me for season 6, episode 2. You got anything else?
Nope, that was my last note.
Okay. Well, we'll probably take off next week because of the 4th of July weekend. We hope everyone has a safe holiday, and thank you for listening so far. We have a lot of other things. Oh my gosh, I still can't believe we're in season 6 and like things are shaking.
I know, it's nuts. Yeah.
Wild. But thank you for listening. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Thank you to everyone who has reached out, and we appreciate it very much. And we'll see you next time.
Have a great week.
Bye.
There's a Parkinson Pals, and there's also therapy too.